Over the past 25 years, Russian President Vladimir Putin has crafted a system designed to maintain internal order while asserting Moscow's role on the global stage. His governance has centered on a delicate equilibrium, consolidating control over domestic elites, stabilizing the economy and projecting strength abroad. However, recent developments suggest that this finely tuned balance may be coming under serious strain. A recent article in Foreign Policy by two American academics specializing in Russian affairs argues that the foundations of Putin's long-standing strategy are beginning to crack. They outline how the domestic and international environment Putin once effectively navigated is rapidly evolving, presenting new and potentially insurmountable challenges to his model of governance. When Putin first assumed office in 2000, Russia was still grappling with the chaotic aftermath of the Soviet Union's collapse. Oligarchs wielded enormous influence, the economy was fragile and public morale was low. One of Putin's first major moves was to bring oligarchic power under tighter control, while restoring a sense of national purpose through economic recovery and improved living standards. This approach, linking economic growth to national pride and centralized governance, resonated with many Russians. The result was a period of relative domestic calm, especially when compared to the turbulence of the 1990s. Meanwhile, internationally, Russia pursued a foreign policy that often prioritized military assertiveness. Key examples include the 2008 conflict in Georgia and the 2014 annexation of Crimea, actions that elevated Russia's status in some quarters and solidified Putin's domestic approval. The 2022 invasion of Ukraine, framed by the Kremlin as a special military operation, was seen as a continuation of this assertive foreign policy. Analysts believe Putin hoped for a swift military success that would further cement his political legacy and provide a favorable backdrop for succession planning. However, the reality has proved far more complex. Instead of a quick resolution, the war has dragged on, reshaping not only Russia's international standing but also the stability within its borders. As the conflict nears its fourth year, comparisons are being drawn with the Soviet Union's protracted involvement in World War II. Yet unlike that era which saw the USSR emerge as a global superpower, the current war has led to diplomatic isolation and strategic setbacks. Russia's influence in its traditional spheres of interest appears to be receding. Armenia's decision to cede control over the Nagorno-Karabakh region to Azerbaijan in 2023 received a muted response from Moscow, raising questions about Russia's role in the Caucasus. Elsewhere, the weakening of the Assad regime in Syria and growing pressure on Iran from the United States and Israel have left Moscow with fewer reliable allies. Domestically, economic headwinds are compounding the strain. Western sanctions, energy market volatility, and the high costs of sustaining military operations have taken a toll. Inflation climbed above 9% in the first half of 2025, while GDP growth has slowed significantly. At the recent St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, Russian officials acknowledged the economy is edging toward recession, and the broader picture suggests deeper structural challenges. At the same time, the external geopolitical environment is shifting. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, who has taken a more assertive tone on the Ukraine conflict, has proposed supplying Ukraine with advanced weaponry and increasing sanctions on Russia. European nations, too, are ramping up defense spending and maintaining their commitment to Kyiv, potentially prolonging the conflict. The foreign policy article suggests that these mounting pressures could disrupt the domestic stability Putin has prioritized for decades. While public opposition to Putin himself remains limited, discontent with the war could surface through unexpected channels. The 2023 Wagner Group mutiny, led by Yevgeny Prigozhin, served as a stark reminder of how quickly dissent can manifest, even within elite circles. Though Prigozhin is now dead and high-profile opposition figures like Alexei Navalny have also died in recent years, some members of Russia's political and business elite have begun to voice cautious dissent, particularly regarding the war's trajectory. So far, these expressions remain muted, but they signal a potential shift in elite cohesion, a key pillar of Putin's power structure. To respond, the Kremlin may choose to double down on its military commitments, reallocating even more national resources toward the war effort. If that occurs, the long-standing domestic strategy of prioritizing internal stability could be abandoned, replaced by an all-out focus on geopolitical survival. The article notes, however, that while dissatisfaction may be growing, meaningful opposition remains fragmented and weak. Polling, even from independent outlets, continues to show Putin with support levels exceeding 70%. For now, there is little evidence of a coordinated effort capable of dislodging him from power. Still, the war has exposed certain myths. The perception of Russia as a nation uniquely capable of withstanding hardship and projecting military power is being tested. Behind the patriotic rhetoric lies a more complex reality: a country under pressure, a leadership forced to make difficult trade-offs, and a future that is far less certain than it appeared just a few years ago. As Russia moves toward 2026, the central question remains: can Putin maintain the balance that has defined his presidency, or is the country entering a period of profound transformation?